But eventually you came and you saw me and my 7 brothers. You will only know Dylan if I say, hey, this is Dylan. And I think this was the same case with the apostles. And so now we're going to move down now to see where eventually Judas kissed Jesus, and just said, Judas, is it with a kiss that you betrayed the Son of Man? And eventually Jesus was arrested, and he was brought before Caiaphas, the high priest. And the high priest, they began to question Jesus, and eventually they say, I adjure you by the living God, tell us whether or not you are the Son. They didn't want to know, right? These guys, they spat in his face, they slapped him, they were doing so many things. These guys were just acting out of hate. That's it. They were acting out of hate. They just hated Jesus because he didn't represent what they wanted. He didn't represent the Messiah that they wanted. Then eventually we saw it move down to Peter denying Jesus, realizing it, and going out and weeping bitterly. And it's a vast contrast between Peter and Judas, because Judas could have repented. As much as it was predicted of Judas as a son of perdition, Judas could have repented from what he did. But he was overcome by guilt. And you're going to see in chapter 27, he was overcome by remorse and all that happened to him. And instead of that leading him to repentance, he took his life. The fate of Judas, I don't normally like commenting on stuff like that because I'm not God. But from all indication, it seems like he lost his soul. From all indication. Eventually, okay, I'm going to move on from that, and we're going to move to chapter 27, and we're going to be looking at Jesus being delivered to Pilate. Now, here's an interesting twist. Chapter 27, verse 11. The Bible said Jesus stood before the governor, and the governor asked him, are you the king of the Jews? Jesus said, you said so. Same thing he said to Judas when Judas said, is it I, Rabbi? Jesus said, you said so. So he's answering in the affirmative. Yes, because you said so. But when he was accused by the chiefs, priests, and elders, he gave no answer. Then Pilate said to him, do you not hear how many things they testify against you? But he gave him no answer, not even a single charge, so that the governor was greatly amazed. And he was amazed because these guys were building up a case against Jesus, and he wasn't even defending himself. But aren't we happy this morning that he didn't defend himself? Aren't we happy this morning that he did surrender into their hands? Even though he could have defended himself perfectly. Even though he could have called 10,000 angels, and he said to Peter, put your sword away, Peter. Do you not think that I could say to my father right now, rescue me, and he would have sent a legion of angels? He could have gotten himself out of this. Watch this. But for you and I, he went to the cross. And then Matthew gave a beautiful contrast from verse 15 onwards. This strange, mysterious figure, Barabbas. I preached a sermon on this once at Christ the Way. And I was really, really, really hit by the character Barabbas. Because for me, Barabbas was a very mysterious guy. Because we're seeing everything that is happening. Peter denied Jesus. Judas hung himself. The elders and the Pharisees and everybody, they're there. Pilate is asking this question. And then out of nowhere, this guy named Barabbas just popped up in the scene. And Barabbas was the type of Messiah that they needed. Because Barabbas was a zealot. And Barabbas was a leader of a revolt against the Romans. And that's the reason why Barabbas was in prison. Because he believed that the Romans were occupying illegally, and he was a zealot. And the zealots were people who would kill the Romans. They would await Roman soldiers in the alleys and the dark passages, and they would kill them. The zealots were dangerous guys. They didn't play around. And Barabbas was a leader of the zealots. And so interestingly, we see here that it is said that it's a custom that at the feast that is at the Passover, because that's what's happening. And it's so funny that Jesus died on the Passover. That's significant that he died on the Passover too, because the lamb in Egypt was slain the day of the Passover to protect the children of Israel from the angel of death. And the same time is so aligned. The prophecy just came right together. The timing of God, man. Talk about the timing of God. That's why we need to trust God this morning. We need to trust God that He has our best interest at heart. We need to trust His timing when it comes onto our lives. Trust Him and trust His timing, because God's timing always come together perfectly. So it's the Passover, and the custom is that at the Passover, the governor, which is Pilate, would release a criminal to the crowd. And then there was this famous criminal named Barabbas. And so Pilate now is going to put Barabbas and Jesus together, because Pilate knew that Jesus was innocent because of what his wife said and because of the fact that he just knew it. You know, he must have judged hundreds of cases before. He must have done many situations where he had to make judgmental decisions. He must have done this several times. So without a shadow of a doubt, he would have known that, yes, this guy is innocent. And the Bible said he knew it. So now Barabbas is on the stage and he's standing beside Jesus. Mysterious Barabbas. And the funny thing is that Barabbas didn't even say a word. He came on the scene, and just as he came on the scene, he disappeared. And at least for me, I'm wondering, where did this guy go? I'm like, what happened to this Barabbas guy, you know?